Okay, first page. Halophytes. What are halophytes? So, as the name says, we are talking about plants which live under extreme conditions. Lot of water, no water, now high salt. So they are basically adaptation is similar to that of drought, dry, but they have some special features extra. So they are basically xerophilous plants. Xerophilous plants means plants which grow under extreme conditions. And they grow in concentrations of but high concentration of salt like sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate. So these salts are physiologically dry, सूखा रहता है. So they have basically they are succulent. Succulent मतलब cactus जैसा. It's like cactus. Okay, and the leaves are evergreen. Always throughout the year they are green. Small and leathery with water storage tissues, thick cuticle, well developed palisade tissues. Outside tissues are thick, mota, so that inside are protected. Have you seen jade plant? Jade plant, বাড়িতে কারণ নেই, JADE, jade plant. Small leaves, like cactus, it's a succulent. ইন্টারনেটে সার্চ মেরো আমার বাড়িতে আছে জেড প্লান্ট ইজিলি অ্যাভেলেবল ब्यूटीफुल प्लांट्स दे आर कंसिडर्ड लकी प्लांट्स बिकॉज दे ब्रिंग गुड लक लाइक कैक्टस बट दिस कैक्टस में कांटा रहता है इसमें कांटा नहीं रहता है इफ यू सी द लीव्स मोटा मोटा लीव्स हाँ सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर इज their root, which is negatively geotropic. Negatively geotropic means growing down in the soil. Negatively means growing up. ये क्या root है ऊपर जा रहा है? What type of root is it? Root तो हमेशा it always goes down, but these roots go up, and these are known as pneumatophores, and they are important for gaseous exchange. শ্বাসনালীর মতন বেরিয়ে থাকে they are known as pneumatophores. Some of these halophytes show vivipary, germination of seeds before they are shed from the parent plants. Normally क्या seeds you scatter seeds around and then plant grows, but sometimes एक बार मैं देखा था inside a plant, inside the pod, the seed is there. From the seedling has come out. So almost like you have a live plant coming out from the seed inside the mother plant itself. Like humans give birth to not seeds but directly live young ones, smaller version of a big human being. It's like that. A smaller plant is coming out right from the pod of the seed. So this is vivipary. And there is selective absorption and tolerance of sodium chloride. So they selectively take in salts and they can tolerate high sodium chloride concentration. I used to work with a plant known as Portracia coarctata. So this is actually also it grows in the Sundarban region, the salty soil over there. But it's not dry, but salt and drought, they are more or less, they have the same thing. Lot of salt water is as good as basically without watering. Plant will die in the same manner. Similar molecular biological responses are going to be elicited. So this plant was known as nowadays the name has been changed into Oryza coarctata. Instead of Oryza sativa is common rice, the rice which you eat. This is Oryza coarctata. So it's basically of the family of rice. বাংলায় বলে ধানি ঘাস, ধানের মতন দেখতে ধানি ঘাস, ও গরুরা খায় ওগুলো ধানগুলো, মানে মানুষ খায় না, আমরা মানে আমি খাওয়ার চেষ্টা করেছিলাম, খাওয়া যায় না, বিচ্ছিরি, But it's horrible, and it's not healthy also. Eh, It's not very healthy also. But they can grow up to salt concentration of 400 millimolar salt. They can grow up to 400 millimolar of sodium chloride. That's tremendously high. 0 to 10 এর মধ্যেই অবস্থা টাইট হয়ে যায়. Our body has got only 0.9% saline. So that is a 400 millimolar of salt. For a physiologically it is very high salt content. It grows 400. I even grew them in soil up to 600 800. 1 molar এতে একটু প্রবলেম হয়ে গেছিল. They did not grow well, but did not die. They did not grow well. You can kill them, but basically they will grow at higher salt concentrations. So my job was to take, I found out that one particular gene known as inositol 3-phosphate, this confers salt tolerance to the plant. It's a xerophyte, it's a halophyte. It confers salt, myo-inositol 3-phosphate. This is this particular gene. So I just simply cloned out the gene from this Potracia or Oryza coarctata and put it in, transformed it in basmati rice. Even this basmati rice was growing at not at 400, but it was growing at 200 millimolar salt concentration. So high salt and even under drought conditions, semi-drought conditions, it showed a greater tolerance. So basically this was unfortunately I used to work in Bose Institute, Calcutta, Madhamgram. So basically in India such work is very difficult. For this work I used to go to Sundarban once a month, wearing shorts, then used to get down in the mud up to waist level of mud, pick up those things, then come out. Not only that, I had to take tons and tons of soil. In a particular Bose Institute truck, used to take this soil back to Bose Institute. This canning is absolutely in Sundarbans area, and the north of Calcutta you have Madhamgram, the Bose Institute experimental farm. So from something like 40 kilometers from here to there, that was be transported 40 to 60 kilometers, and after it was transported, then soil was dug out. Nobody was there to help. I had to dig up all the soil which was in Madhamgram, pour all these soils. So there was no helper to do it. I had to do it all myself in this mud. And like farmers, I had to grow these plants. You cannot grow them from seeds. Somehow, for some reason or the other, we were unable to grow them from seeds. So I had to take live plants and seedlings from there and grow them in our experimental facility where molecular biology facilities were available. So, and I made it almost like a Sundarban area zone there. All soil, natural soil was removed, that soil was placed inside, wet, these plants were grown over there, they grew, from there I took samples, and from there I did all RNA and protein work. So I literally had to work like a farmer, and then I had to grow basmati rice also, and literally cultivate basmati rice over there, like a farmer. Whole day in the mid-sun afternoon, with like farmers work, I had to work like that. After that, I got sufficient material, and something like 500 kilos of basmati rice I grew. 500? Yes, they also had it was transgenic, and they also had a poison marker also inside, that if any insect attacks it, it's that particular, they have got a particular phenolic compound which will kill the insect, and as you know, it's a poison is produced. It's not good for animals also. So out of this 500 kilos, one day I came and see that 300 kilos have been stolen and somebody sold it in the market. I had only 200 kilos left. Almost half a quintal I had produced. Out of that 200 kilos, 300 kilos were sold. Can you imagine? Humans will not die, but this rice is not it's supposed to be under strict lock and key. Possibly the guard itself, he was collaborated and he sold it, but this is not good for human health. And this transgenic thing, rice, when it goes out, what it can do is if some of this leaks and you have this naturally growing basmati rice, it can compete with it and remove, because it's got a salt tolerance. So it will grow much better. It's got a selective advantage. In dry condition, it will start growing and the natural species will die out. Ecologically, this is known as a disaster. So anyway, so let us go back to halophytes. So go to the figure 3.22. So you see outside, there is a region known as cuticle proper. Can you see that region? On the top, thick cuticle, proper cuticle, covering cuticle. Below that is cutinized layer, hard layer. Cuticle है, उसके नीचे cutinized layer है. And then below that is cellulose. और एक another thing which is going to give protection. It's a carbohydrate layer, protection. So very thick layer. So outer wall of the epidermal cell, cellulose, cutinized layer, then cutinized cuticle proper. A cuticle wax like cuticle, उसके नीचे cutinized hard layer, उसके नीचे cellulose layer. So basically, so like almost like a dry region. But the attack is from inside. What happens when you place a plant in high salt water? It will absorb through osmosis all the solutes inside. ले लेगा, सूख जाएगा. Put your hand in the finger inside salt water, high salt water. After sometimes, even in normal water, it wrinkles. So because it happens like this, water will come out. It's an osmotic shock. And if you place them in excess water, it can swell also. For that, the plants and animals have got protection. Take one blood cell, put it in normal water, phule phete jabe. Okay, it will swell and burst and it will go blood cell. You put it in salt, high salt, it will shrink. Everything will come out from the cell, it will shrink. So you have to put them in isotonic, saline. That's got 0.9% NaCl. Okay. And then below that, you have the other leaf layers. Then you have the stroma. The stroma where the epistomal, there is an epistomal chamber. Stroma, jahan se water comes and goes out. It is very deep, located very deeply. Okay. So this is how it is located. Then inside you have the guard cells. Khula rehta hai, guard cells. Okay, now let us go to the roots part. এগুলো পড়তে হবে না, halophytic communities, you don't need to read all these things. Swamp forest, salt deserts, you don't need to read them. अच्छा, aerial and subterranean roots. Aerial मतलब ऊपर है, subterranean में थोड़ा नीचे मिट्टी के. It has got several layered cork. Cork, have you seen cork? Wine के bottle के ऊपर में cork. ब्राउन कलर छिपी, ब्राउन कलर जो छिपी रहता है, विनीगर के बॉटल में, वाइन के बॉटल के ऊपर में कॉर्क, यू हैव द कॉर्क. हाँ, होम्योपैथी के कभी कभी उसमें भी मिलता है. दैट इज कॉर्क, दैट लेयर ऑफ कॉर्क, इट्स लाइक अ बार्क. सो यू हैव सेवरल लेयर्स ऑफ कॉर्क. ड्राई सेल्स, सेल हैज गॉट, द सेलेर खोलसटा রয়েছে, সেলটা বেরিয়ে গেছে. Cortex, it's made up of star-shaped stellate cells. Star-shaped stellate cells. Then you have pith cells. They are thick-walled. Pith, thick-walled. ठीक है? Roots, stems, very thick cuticle, covering very thick. Epidermal cells, very heavily thicket, सब मोटा मोटा. Hypodermis, below the epidermis is the hypodermis layer. It is several layers. It is also heavily thick walled. And the primary cortex, मतलब बाहर वाला cortex, secondary is the अंदर वाला cortex. Primary cortex, a number of lacunae, space. जैसे like same as वो desert, as xerophytes, halophytes, H shaped, heavily thickened से यहाँ पे एक चीज़ है, you have spicules present. What are spicules? Look at figure 3.23. First figure, rhizophora का जो picture है, rhizophora का section. You will see a structure known as scleroid. दिख रहा है scleroid? So these are present. These are hard calcareous structures present. Leaf तो there, I've just talked about leaf cuticle, well developed, epidermal cells are heavily thickened and may contain calcium oxalate crystals. একটু ছোটই আছে. And this is the end of today's class and I think my syllabus is also over. তাই তো আর তো কিছু নেই. Unit 4 कुछ बाकी है? একটু দেখো তো.